Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
Bandwidth for All About Android is provided by Cachefly at CACHEFLY.com.
This episode of All About Android is brought to you by Netflix. Watch thousands of TV episodes of movies on your PC, Mac, iPad, iPhone, or TV instantly. All streamed directly to you, saving you time, money, and hassle. For your free 30-day trial, go to netflix.com/twit.
Welcome to All About Android. This is episode 22, recorded on Monday, August 22nd, 2011. This is your weekly source for the latest news, hardware, and apps for the Android faithful. I'm Eileen Rivera.
I'm Jason Howell, and we do not have Ron on the show today, unfortunately.
He's flown the coop. He's gone.
He flew the coop, yeah, or rather, he went to his second home, it seems. He lives in New York when he's not in the Bay Area. So.
Yeah. We miss you, Ron, and
miss you wherever you
too
are,
bad
New
you're not
York.
here because we're going to have a rockin' show today. And in his place, we brought back Nicole Lee. Thank you so much, Nicole, for being on the show. You guys know her from CNET and CNET's Dialed In podcast. Hello again.
Hello. Hello. It was great to see you again.
I know. We just had a big TWiT grand opening party last night, so I'm not going to make any excuses. I'm here. I'm ready for the show. I'm not hungover.
Yes.
How about you?
I'm
not.
perfectly, not hungover.
And neither are
See,
you, right,
I can't
Nicole?
even talk. That's how wrong I am.
No,
when
not
I
at
say
all.
that.
Not at all.
No,
Well,
we had a great time.
Perfectly
so.
functional.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, we're back. We're ready. There's lots to talk about today. This week we're going to be discussing more Android numbers, and we'll be chatting with WIMM Labs and talking about wearable Android. The HP tablet as a Android device, is that real? What's going on with that? And in the arena, we're talking about sexy cloud storage apps. You know you want to know about Dropbox and SugarSync and all that stuff.
It's undeniable that cloud storage, as unsexy as it may be, is really, really useful. And
It is
a lot of people use it. So we're going to
Useful.
dive into
Very
some of the
practical.
main players there.
All right. So let's go ahead and dig in since we have a guest in just a minute. Tony, I think we'll start with our news. While we were prepping the show, I found an article, a new study on
great.
Android. Numbers. I know
Another
you guys
study.
love this. No, I don't love this either. But you know, take the numbers however you want to. But today, research firm NPD finds Android was running on 52% of all smartphones last quarter. Now, this is only U.S. numbers. iOS, in their research, is sitting at 29% market share, and BlackBerry came in third with 11%. This is all just got released today. And also interesting to note that they don't really talk about vendors so much, but they did pull out some numbers with respect to Motorola, and mostly because of the recent acquisition that Google had. And their numbers were that the share, Motorola Mobility's share, dropped from 15 to 12%. We kind of knew about this. We talked about this last week, I think, when we talked about the acquisition, and that, their numbers were down. Why did they buy them? Blah, blah, blah. It was the patents. So there's no real surprise there. But, that's probably, numbers-wise, is another good sort of research fact for Android. I don't know how seriously you want to take it or not, but there it is.
I just feel like these, and I've probably said this in the past, but I feel like these number stories come up all the time. They're always kind of saying, very similar things. Android's dominating, iOS, behind Android, or iOS in some of the studies is doing fantastic compared to Android. I think the big test, and the one that might actually change these studies that come through, will be if there is, the next big breakout phone that is not on Android, like an iPhone 5. It'll be interesting to really kind of see how it changes, because I run out of things to say when it comes up to these number stories, and it's every single week. It's like, yes, okay,
Well,
I get it. Android's still doing all right.
There was a story that Verizon customers last week, kind of, sort of the percentage that have jumped from Android to iPhone as well. I mean, you never. Okay, great. Well, that's going to happen. So take it with a grain of salt. I
guess so.
Yeah.
Well, this is just a really quick hit, but actually, and it was kind of unfortunate how the timing worked out on this. Almost immediately after we wrapped last week's show, someone in the chat room gave the news that was spreading about Steve Kondik, who is also known as Cyanogen. And if you've rooted and thought about ROMing your phone, there's a good chance that the team at Cyanogen has created their version of Gingerbread or Froyo or whatever they do with CyanogenMOD for your phone. He's the head of CyanogenMOD, and he's secured a position with Samsung, working, as he puts it, on making Android more awesome. So then, of course, this led for the entire week, people wondering, okay, well, what does this mean for the possible fate of CyanogenMOD, because it's got a lot of fans. So they went ahead and put up a blog post on their site to just kind of reassure people and let you know, have no fear. They're still working hard on the revisions to the ROMs. They're a little bit slower right now because you know what? Life happens, and everybody gets busy. And I can imagine, kind of where he's at right now, starting with Samsung and kind of figuring out where he fits in there and how they're going to utilize him. But it's really good reassurance to know that the CyanogenMOD project isn't going anywhere, because I mean, that's right at the top of so many people's lists when it comes to rooting and ROMing your phone and putting something else on there. So
yeah. Oh, anyways. Yeah, no, it's just going to be interesting to see if he gets influenced by Samsung, or if Cyanogen...
Or how he influences Samsung.
Yeah.
And if there's a little bit of crossover there between what he's doing with CyanogenMOD, what his team is doing with CyanogenMOD, and kind of what Samsung is doing. I'll be really curious to kind of find out what that influence is going forward.
Yeah. Seemed like most people weren't worried. Go ahead, Nicole.
Yeah, I think it's good too. I mean, who knows? Maybe it might bring better design to Samsung products, right? Samsung Android phones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I'm all for that.
Yeah,
Samsung girl that I am. I'm all for that.
So the next thing is that Google's Andrew Rubin has announced that he split the Android bonus with his team. That resulted in paydays between $10,000 and $50,000 for Googlers across the team, the Wall Street Journal reported. So this sounds great for the Android team. They get a lot of bonus cash, right? That's great, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, good for them. I guess... I guess it remains to be seen if what kind of influence this would actually have on on anybody actually getting these Android phones. More than anything, this is just kind of nice to know. It kind of gives you a warm feeling inside that he's sharing this with his Android team, particularly.
Absolutely, he gets a big fat bonus, and he doesn't run away with it. He gives it to he shares it with the team. I'd love
That's not all. He even threw 2 parties. Like he throws 2 parties a year.
Okay, Leo. Well, we got one, right?
Yeah, right. We got one. And after he sees the reverberations of how hungover everybody is and what that does to the shows the day after, I don't know if we're getting another party.
He was going to be like, no more parties. No more parties. We tried to keep the bar here, too, but that wasn't going to happen. So, anyways, well, good. Well, congratulations to the Android team, I guess. Nice. Cha-ching. Cha-ching. All right. Well, we've kept him waiting long enough. I'd like to go ahead and bring in our interview with Ted Ladd of WIMM Labs, Director of Developer Relations. How you doing there, Ted? Thanks for hanging in there.
Oh, delighted. I'm very well, thank you.
Good. Now, can you give us a little bit of information on WIMM Labs and what we're showing off your website right now. Looks like watches. What else is coming out in store from WIMM?
So flip back to the video of me for a second. I'll show you.
Okay.
How can you see that? There it is.
So you're showing us...
I'm showing it's a module that can go inside of anything. So yes, we have it inside of a watch band. There we have it inside of a white watch band. But the fact that it's in a watch band is almost irrelevant. This can go in a pendant. It can go in a hospital gurney. It can go in an inventory tracking system. It can go in a natural gas detector. I had an engineering firm call me about that today. So what we're really trying to do is push this into ubiquitous computing. And wearable technology and expand it beyond what people typically think of as wearable technology, and when they stop at the concept of a watch.
Now, where did the idea come from? The first thing I ever heard of, sort of expanding Android was at Google I/O and expanding in the home, and we saw it in treadmills, Google I/O, lots of different places. I mean, have you guys been working on this for a long time now, or is this sort of a recent development?
No, this is 2 years in the coming.
Okay, that's what I figured.
Because we've done a couple of different things with Android that are important for wearable technology. The first is, and I'll hold it up here, I have not touched the screen. This is what it looks like until you touch the screen, and this may sound or look unastounding. So let me touch the screen so you see what happens. Then it lights up. What we've done is actually put in here a microcontroller that is very, very low power and a reflective screen, so that for most of the day, you're only you can see the time perfectly all day. You can't do this with a smartphone, you can't do this with a laptop, you can't do this with any of the other, or most of the other watches out there, whether they're smart or not. Once you touch the button, all of a sudden we're spinning up an ARM11 processor, applications processor, which can burst up to 667 megahertz, and a full active touchscreen. So we have a full-size computer here with this dual processor architecture.
A lot of people
to
are
allow
asking,
us to run all day.
A lot of people in the chat room are asking, well, a few people are asking about connectivity.
We have Wi-Fi and Bluetooth built into here, as well as accelerometers and magnetometers. This is a fully loaded, fully connected computer.
And
it does not have, in anticipation of any of the chat room comments, it does not have a persistent 3G radio. We look forward to building that in eventually, but right now we don't have it because the battery life on something like that would be way, way too short.
Yeah, actually, that kind of leads me to one of my questions is, what kind of battery life are you getting out of this kind of device right now? And I mean, is it the type of thing, like, I guess I've never thought of plugging in my watch at the end of the day to charge it up for the next day, but I would imagine something like this, you would need to do that, right?
You would need to do that.
That's exactly what you need to do. We're in the average use case, you plug it in every night. Only for a couple hours, but you need to top up the battery. We can extend that out if you do things like reduce the amount of time you're willing to get internet connectivity or reduce Bluetooth. But we think that the use case, the most robust experience people expect, is when they top it up every night. One of the things that we're doing with Bluetooth that we think is important is we're actually communicating with your smartphone. So I can get caller ID on my wrist, and I can dismiss it to voicemail. If I'm running an Android smartphone, I can then keep the phone in my pocket and receive text messages on my wearable device, whether it's on my wrist or anywhere else. So we're communicating with the smartphone so that you can actually get better battery life out of your smartphone by not having to turn it on every couple of minutes in order to see what time it is or whether you've received a text message.
Interesting. Cubed in the chat room actually is asking if it's a modular design. Like, could you design something like a GPS module that you could actually plug into it, or do you have any ideas of making it kind of a module design going into the future?
There are a couple different ways to take that question. In terms of modularity, that's exactly what it's designed for. It's designed to be a self-contained module where people can download a hardware development kit and therefore create their own accessories or peripherals in order to interact with the devices they choose. We put pins on the back so that you can connect with it. The reason we did pins instead of a standard connection like micro USB is because this is water resistant. We don't want you to put this in a watch, wash the dishes, and have it break. So we've sealed it in the same way that we're running actually a micro SD chip in here. Right now we have 2 gigs in this device, which is called the WIMM 1 Developer Preview, which will be shipping in several weeks. That has 2 gigs in it, but we can go up to 32 gigs. And the other way to take modularity, I think you had asked about some of the other things we have in it. We can, because we have Bluetooth in here, we can connect with other Bluetooth devices. So this can read sensors, things like that. We have GPS on the platform. It's not going to be included in the WIMM 1 developer preview, but we have tested it on other design boards.
That's cool. We did ask some people on Google+. I seem to like to do that these days. And one of the questions that came in was from Cohen Hendricks, who actually sounds like maybe, he brings up the question of kind of individual users wanting to develop for this platform. He says, can I develop my own Android apps and load them onto the WIMM, or do I need like a special, well, I know the answer to this part of it, the special developers kit and cables to do that. But is this the type of platform that individual users are going to be able to kind of program their own apps to appear in that little screen, or is it kind of locked down to what you've already programmed for it?
No. That's just the beauty of Android is based on developers like Cohen, where we have an SDK that will be coming out at the same time that we ship the WIMM 1 that will allow people to develop their own apps. Yeah. The SDK adds some APIs to the Android platform that are important for the way that we do synchronization, for example.
Sure.
So yes, this is absolutely a platform ripe for development, not just for people to create their own apps for use themselves, but also for people to start to create apps that push into industries that haven't yet seen the explosion of Android devices, like healthcare, like fitness. It's doing pretty well right now on the Android smartphones, the fitness category. But once you can actually connect a device to your wrist, we think that fitness all of a sudden becomes a category that has much more potential to it, because you can now have subtle glances at information.
I mean, I mean, I don't know. I'm sure you guys have thought about it, but it does, put it next side by side with the Fitbits, with the Nike sports watch, with I think Jawbone has its own solution for this kind of thing, and it's very, since it's so customizable, you can add your own. You don't have to use Nike. You can use your own fitness app on it if you want.
Sure.
Well, you also you can use it for fitness when you're exercising, and then you can go back to the applications that you want to use during the day just to keep it on. So you don't have to have all of these multiple single function devices. You can now have a device that does fitness, and then when I touch on it right here and I can pull up my calendar, well, I can't do it upside down. I can pull up my calendar here, and this is pulling from my Gmail account, or I can pull from Exchange. I can see the weather. We have a whole bunch of applications that are already loaded on that lend themselves to making your day more productive. And then we're an open platform.
That's cool. Have to ask, because people are going to want to know this. Obviously, is when some of the first devices that are kind of utilizing your platform are going to be releasing, and B, kind of what the cost is going to be for these devices. I know on the few posts that I read, it was a range between $200 and $2,000, which. It's quite a range.
It's a big range.
Yeah, it's a big range. But for something like a cool watch that integrates this technology, what would you put the price point at for something like that?
Okay. Let me answer those questions in order. The first is, when will you see a WIMM 1 developer device? We're looking at several weeks now. So this will be coming out soon. Our major partner, which is Foxconn, the largest manufacturer of consumer electronics in the world, is helping us design the manufacturing lines and start up the manufacturing lines right now. So several weeks. For the first question, what it will cost, the developer preview unit will retail for $299, but because we want developers to get their hands on them, we're giving a $100 discount for the first one that anybody buys. If you want to buy more, have at it. But it's $199 then for the developer preview unit, so you can get going. The third question that is in there about the $200 to $2,000. You can imagine if somebody were to take this device and put it into a ceramic unit with a ceramic strap and with leather band if they wanted to, and then maybe even jewels around the outside or some sort of interesting strap, that the price for that could go up pretty radically. We're, as a platform company, only producing the WIMM 1 developer preview. That's perhaps the only device you'll ever see with the WIMM name on it. And then it's up to our licensees to come out to the market with different designs and software and aimed at different market segments.
Sure. Yeah, that's definitely worth noting, is that these prices are not necessarily for Joe Blow consumer, going to buy this unit. This is priced for developers to be able to get their hands on it and really create what they're going to create, and eventually, hopefully, market out to the public. And then, I guess that price will be revealed, whatever that ends up being. But that's very interesting. I really like thinking about Android and just technology in general, but Android in a different way. I feel like we see so many Android devices every single week. We talk about all these new devices that are coming along, but they all kind of follow the same format. This is doing something different. That's great. I wish you the best of luck with this.
And
thank you very much.
Where could people go, Ted? Just for those who are listening, who haven't been watching the video.
For more information on the WIMM platform, please see us at WIMM.com. That's WIMM.com. Or follow us on Twitter at WIMMDev, WIMMDEV, for developer-focused information, and WIMM Labs, WIMMLABS, for consumer-focused information. We're also right now accepting some requests for early views at the SDK and the HDK. So if you have something that you are dying to create and you think you can produce it in time for our launch several weeks from now, and you think it would appeal to a large audience, please send me a note via the website. Love to hear from you.
That's awesome. We have a lot of developers that definitely follow the show. So why not develop for another platform, something that's a little more unique than just the general Android? So Ted Ladd, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it.
Jason, Eileen, Nicole, thank you very much for having me.
Absolutely.
All
right, take care.
Have a good evening.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye. All right, well, we'll take a quick break now and thank our sponsor, Netflix, which the show is brought to you by Netflix, streaming thousands of TV episodes of movies directly to you instantly, saving you time, headache, hassle. You just plug in your device that has a Netflix app installed in an Xbox 360, PS3, Nintendo Wii. There's an Android app, iPhone. I mean, the thing's all over the place. It's pretty easy to stream the instant streaming from Netflix if you have a device like that. And if you're not a gamer, you can find it on places like the Roku, the Apple TV, tons of places. So they just have a huge selection, a huge library. I never watch the actual DVDs because I always find something to watch on the instant streaming myself. And one of the cool things that you can actually do, and this comes in really handy with the Android app, is that you can kind of start a movie in one place and continue on it on another place. So if you started at home and you run out of time, you have to hop on the train to go to work or whatever, watch it on the train. Sure, that works. You use your app. That's what it's there for. And you can cancel anytime if you so choose. But you can go ahead and try the Netflix streaming for 30 days for free. You can visit netflix.com/twit and be sure to use that URL when you sign up to get the free trial. Again, that's netflix.com/twit. And are you pulling up the app?
Yeah, I've got the app right now. I'm resuming my viewing of Angel, so you guys can keep going with the show. I'm going to finish now.
All right. All right. Nicole and I got it.
No, but here it is on the phone. I'm streaming. It's kind of dark, but if you go back to the app, you could see here, resume. So I can just resume wherever I stopped off from last time. So
nice.
Yeah, I was watching. Actually, I kind of cheated. I jumped in the middle of Angel. I got to go back to the beginning.
Don't forget to go back to the beginning.
Yeah, these are some of the shows that I'm watching. Yeah, this ABC Family show, Switched at Birth. And I'm trying to watch Party Down right now, but I just don't think it's that funny. I don't get it.
Yeah, I keep meaning to check that one out. I haven't seen it yet.
I watched 4 episodes, and I'm not really down with it. But I'm loving my Angel and Buffy instant streaming on Netflix. That's what I'm doing.
Me and my husband, we're watching the entire series of IT Crowd right now.
Oh, I haven't seen that yet either.
It's all on there.
Oh, right on. Nice. Well, I will have to remember that because I always hear Tom, of all people. Tom is always talking about the IT Crowd. I'm like, I got to make a mental note and actually see that so I understand his jokes. Anyways,
I don't know if anybody can.
Anyways, netflix.com/twit is the URL to go for 30 days free. Check it out. We thank Netflix for their support of All About Android and the TWiT network. We know you'll love it, so check it out. All right, let's move on to our next segment. We are going to dive deep this week into hardware. All right, so first off, if you were following things online, well, okay, let's go back a little bit. Let's go back to the end of last week, where HP pretty much just kind of said, yeah, brum, brum. They said that they were getting out of the computer business for the most part. And then over the weekend, if you weren't kind of following the feeds online, you'll notice that the HP Touchpad became a really hot ticket item. HP slashed the price to $100 all over the net, as well as certain brick and mortar stores. And Android geeks particularly, and I saw a lot of this over the weekend, they were buying the device, and it ended up topping Amazon's US sales chart. I mean, it sold ridiculously and sold out all throughout the weekend. Oh, yeah. And all these Android fans are, of course, buying this in the hopes that, it's a WebOS tablet right out of the box. But everyone really feels confident about the fact that there will be a Gingerbread Android port happening, that it will be attained on the device. So that would make this a $100 tablet and a ridiculous deal for the hardware that it packs. It's got a 9.7-inch LED multi-touch display, dual-core 1.2 gigahertz Qualcomm Snapdragon S3 processor, 16 or 32 gigabytes storage, front-facing camera, Beats audio. I mean, for the dollar amount, for $100 measly to get all of that hardware packed in there, and then to find out that the TouchDroid team is working to port Gingerbread onto it and expect to port Ice Cream Sandwich on it eventually. I mean, that just makes this a ridiculous bargain.
Yeah. I mean, I thought the color was cheap.
I know. Well, this kind of blows it out of the water.
Powerful, right?
Oh yeah, and I mean, yeah, exactly. I mean, it's $99. It makes it the cheapest tablet, and it just makes me wonder, like, oh, HP, why did you price it so high to begin with? But that's kind of the great thing about Android, right? It's open source, and you can just put it on here if you can figure out how to do it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And they're going to be able to figure it out. There are rumblings and rumors that there may be somebody that's already got it on there, but it's so soon to tell. And I don't doubt by any stretch of the imagination there are enough people who are very smart about this working on it, just because of the sheer fact that so many people bought it for that purpose in mind. I don't think technically there's any reason that it couldn't be done on this, right. So we'll definitely see it. I did skip Honeycomb only because in as far as what TouchDroid is hoping to port onto it, only because Honeycomb really isn't necessarily open source by Google yet. I mean, there is absolutely the possibility that they're going to find Honeycomb from from another device and be able to port it onto there. So I guess it could happen too, but ultimately, initially, they're trying to get Gingerbread on there. I'm pretty sure that they will. So if you got a $100 touchpad, you probably got yourself a heck of a deal, probably the deal of the year.
Great deal.
So did you guys want to get one this weekend when all of the news broke out? I mean, I have to say, I was thinking, I don't need another tablet, but now it's like I'm kind of like maybe remorse.
I was very
that
tempted.
I didn't try.
I mean, I wasn't tempted before, but the price point is like amazing. Like it's cheaper than a Kindle.
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean,
it's kind of crazy.
True.
$100 is not nothing necessarily, because I don't want to make it sound like, oh yeah, $100 big whoop, but it's so cheap
than a
for
Kindle, and you can do way more than a Kindle, right?
That's true.
Absolutely.
So the hardware's not bad.
No.
So now, are we going to be on the wait list now that we've?
Probably not. Like same as you. Like I have a tablet.
Yeah.
It would be cool to get one. Maybe, to kind of show, once the process is done, kind of show how that's done, so that anybody that follows the show maybe, could, if they needed a walkthrough on how to do it, we could do that. But Tony, our TD for the show, is apparently on a wait list.
Yeah, so
maybe
we're banking on him to be the one to get it, and then we can show it off here.
Yeah, exactly. Hopefully he'll get one, and then maybe we can, at the very least, if he does something with it, show it off and kind of show what it's like to have Gingerbread running on it. So. Right. But anyways, so that's that. But more hardware, and that's from
more
Nicole.
hardware. So I don't know if you guys heard, but the next Nexus phone may be the Samsung Nexus Prime? Question mark. And it may have Ice Cream Sandwich, obviously, because it is the next Nexus phone. They usually have the latest OS on there usually. And apparently it's coming in October, according to Engadget. And it looks like we could see it in time for Halloween, according to a report in Korea's Electronic Times. They may be fingering an October launch for it, and it looks like it might have a 4.5-inch HD AMOLED display, a 1.5 gigahertz dual core processor. So very fast, very bright, big display to 4.5 inches is pretty big, I think.
Yeah.
Are there other 4.5-inch phones out there right now?
Yeah, there are. I can't remember them off the top of my head, but there are those phones that are like, is it a phone or is it a tablet?
Yeah,
You know?
that's got to be pushing the upper end of the phone category. I would imagine.
I know, totally.
But I'm eager to see what that's like, because I honestly, I had the Thunderbolt with the 4.3, I believe it is, on the Thunderbolt, and I feel like I could go for a bigger phone possibly.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, mine's 4.3 too, but this is it. I don't want to. I really don't think I can go bigger than what I have here.
Yeah.
This is perfect. But I don't know.
I'd be willing to check it out.
Wow.
At least just to see what it's like.
I thought it was funny in prep, Nicole, you said that you were trying to, at our TWiT party, you were trying to get some information out of a Googler that was here. And she was like, no. We'll say who it was. It was Colleen. And she's like, what are you trying to get me in trouble here? You were trying to get some information. You came up with nothing, right? She was like,
No,
lips are sealed.
I got nothing.
Oh, well.
But
Can't say we didn't try.
I was trying.
Yeah, that's
She
awesome.
was drunk. She's drinking all the martinis. I was like, yeah, get her. She's
Here,
drunk.
Yeah, drink another
So
one.
about that Nexus Prime, right? It's coming out in October. Wait, is it great? Yeah. I was like, oh.
It's also worth mentioning that some people are reporting that the Prime has been spotted in Verizon headquarters, kind of doing the rounds there. Some people have spotted it. Who knows if that's real or not? But it's certainly leading many to wonder if Verizon will be the ones to release it. That would be pretty sweet.
Yeah, so now you will have.
I know.
How many phones?
It's crazy.
The Bionic, possibly the Prime, and then the Vigor.
The Vigor.
That's 3 phones that you might possibly choose from. What would
Life is good.
As well.
So-
there may be another Droid as well.
another one?
Yeah, the Droid HD, right?
Okay, so given those possibilities, do you have any concept of maybe which one you're like leaning towards?
I mean, if it just right off the top from what I know right now, if it was between the Bionic, the Vigor, and the Prime, I think I'd have to just by default go with the Prime.
Because of the Google,
Google
experience.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Like I wouldn't necessarily say personally, I wouldn't say that Samsung is my favorite hardware manufacturer. Like the quality of the hardware, they tend to go for a little bit more of that plasticky feel than a lot of like the HTC phones. Definitely Motorola has kind of that harder edge, but there's something about their aesthetic that doesn't appeal to me all the time. So I would say by design, I really like HTC phones, and I would love to get an HTC phone as my next phone, but it would be really hard to turn my nose up to the Nexus Prime, given that it is, the next Nexus phone, the first one on Verizon, and possibly the first one with ice cream sandwich. That would be hard to avoid.
Okay. Well,
there you go.
I'm probably going to lose my bet.
We'll see. You go either way.
Yeah.
What do you got?
Okay, well, next week I'm going to give, speaking of hardware and speaking of HTC, I just want to show off the HTC Sensation that I have here, Tony. Can you see this over a shoulder shot? I just have this here. It's been out for, I think, since May, and I'm going to do a little review next week. I have it in my hot little hands here. Those of you on G Plus who have responded, many of you love this phone already, and I'm starting to see why. I've got 4G on here, and I'm really interested to kind of dig in and to kind of see what people are really loving about the phone. So I will have a full review next week.
Will this be your first extended hands-on with Sense? Or have you had much experience with Sense?
Yeah, because the Nexus 1 was a pure Google phone. So,
I'll be curious to see what you think about the Sense experience. And
yeah.
Is it Sense 3? I
think it's
that
Sense
it
3.
is.
Yeah,
it's the latest Sense on there.
Yeah.
That's good. I really like
Sense.
Sense.
I think you're going to like it.
Yeah,
really?
Sense 3 is a good
I already
overlay
like the
as far as they
camera
go.
quite a bit, and I've been kind of just, look how fast everything's kind of switching. Oh my God, look at that. My goodness.
Yeah.
I'm just spinning.
It's very fast.
Some people don't like that carousel, but I don't know. It's okay to me. So anyways, I will have a full review next week, and I'm really excited. I already like the feel of it.
Yeah.
Check out the back here. Got the metal and some
Yeah, a little
there.
kind of grippy.
Yeah, a little grippy there. It's nice. This is also 4.3, which is comparable to mine. Now, it's not AMOLED like this, but still, and I don't have the brightness. Not fair. I don't have the brightness pumped up on the HTC here, but you know, it feels really good in your hand.
Have you played around with the Sensation at all, Nicole?
Yeah, I played around with it. And, you know, T-Mobile has just sort of, I guess there are two big Android phones. It's the G2X and this phone, the Sensation 4G. And it's really whether you want a pure Android versus you want HTC. I mean, it really comes down to that, more or less. And, you know, the HTC Sense is pretty good. I mean, you know, if you don't mind not having a pure Android experience, like, you know, HTC is pretty good.
It's an interesting, actually, kind of side note discussion that I've been thinking about a lot lately is that we all, you know, a lot of the people that end up rooting and ROMing and stuff are always looking for kind of the pure vanilla experience, and that's why they do it. But then you end up getting it, and then you end up customizing it to all get out anyways. You put your own contacts app on there, you put your own lock screen mod on there or whatever. It's kind of like Sense, in Sense in particular, because I really like their approach. Sense does a lot of those elements in an appealing to me sort of way, to where if I'm running Sense, I don't necessarily feel like I have to like put a new lock screen thing on there. That might not.
It's the same thing with Samsung too, right, Eileen? Like Samsung's UI isn't that obtrusive.
Not to me.
I don't think.
The latest
and I haven't had much time with Samsung.
So I'm just playing around here with screens. This is kind of cool.
Yeah, it's like a theme picker.
Yeah, theme picker. It's kind of fun.
Cool. Well, I'll be curious to hear what you think about that.
Yeah, I'm going to spend all week with it. I'm going to kind of gently put my phone away. I love this phone, you guys. And I'm not switching phones, but I'm gonna kind of give this a whirl.
Cool. I don't know if you mentioned this earlier, but I guess Samsung has quote unquote something big coming up in the IFA trade show in Berlin.
Oh yeah, we totally didn't mention that. So yes, good to mention. Absolutely, that September 1st they are revealing something big, and they have these video. These video ads. The second one's probably the better of the two, Tony.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's so, you know, unrevealing. All it really shows is people walking around with glowing things in their hands.
It's got to be the Prime, don't you think?
I don't know. Like my initial thought was, okay, you know, they would make a big deal about having, you know, another Prime, and especially a Prime coming out on Verizon would be kind of a big deal. Certainly waited for. But then there's also a lot of rumors that it could be a 7-inch tablet. You know,
that looks like a phone.
Well, yes, it does. Some of them look like a phone. There's a few shots where they're putting it up to their ears, so you know that there's a phone involved somewhere. So maybe it's a dual announcement. Maybe they're releasing the 7.1 refresh of the tablet, and then they're doing a phone of some sort. What do you think, Nicole? Do you have any speculation on this?
Well, it's going to be, I mean, when is this trade show?
September 1st.
Yeah, this announcement is September 1st.
It's days away.
I think it's, I don't know. If they're going to release the Prime in October, it just seems odd to reveal it a month earlier.
Yeah, do you think that the typical way to do that would be to reveal it?
They usually time it at the same time, don't they?
Okay, like we're revealing it today, and it's available today.
That doesn't look like a tablet, though. I mean, these things that these people are walking that are glowing. It seems so small. So there's
maybe it's a mini Galaxy. Tiny Galaxy.
Galaxy, yeah. Galaxy Nano, yeah.
Galaxy
that would fly.
Well, the 29th is supposedly...
With Samsung, of all companies. Call it the Galaxy Nano, yeah, right.
Well, they're going to have a big announcement on the 29th in New York. We talked about that last week. And now this year on the 1st...
Oh, that's true.
They're going big.
Yeah. I'm very curious to see what they come up with.
Well, the reason why I say it may not be a phone, because they did say something big. It could be like a tablet. That's why I'm going from that.
Yeah, but
why that ad? Why does that ad look like
so phone centric?
Like
yeah,
this? I'm holding my hand to my ear right now. For those of you who can't see,
a 5-inch phone, like a big phone.
We've made our 10.1-inch tablet a phone. Yeah.
Yeah.
That would get some headlines.
So that can imagine? Okay, those of you who are watching. Hey guys, I've got a tablet to my ear right now. Hey.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous.
I don't know. Okay, one last piece. I just want to thank Will Deasy, who came by to the TWiT Brick House to watch TWiT yesterday, and he showed me his Acer Iconia A500. And Tony, yeah, there we go. It was slightly heavy, but the experience that I had, it's kind of like a Zoom in a way to me. Now, it was really fast, and it was really, it seemed to be snappier than I thought. He bought it for like $300. It's $400, got the $100 coupon off, and
yeah, I think I saw a lot about of that deal kind of going around.
Yeah, and you know what? It wasn't a bad a tablet. I think one thing that he didn't like was the actual charging cable was really super small. So, like, why do they do that?
I don't understand. Yeah,
I don't understand why you would give
charging cable
tiny, like literally, like 4 inches. It's not. Yeah, and there you go. They've got a specialized pin, so it's not micro USB. You know what? It felt
docking
really
station
good.
is pretty snazzy.
Yeah, he didn't get the docking station either. But I played with it a little bit, opened up a couple apps. Everything was snappy. Everything moved really well. The camera looked pretty cool. They have a couple of system. He's got 3.1 on it running and just updated. He said it was a lot better with 3.1 versus having 3.0. Anyways, I'd like to just thank him for stopping by and showing off that new tablet, which I thought was actually pretty decent. For a honeycomb tablet,
Sure.
And 10.1, so much like your Samsung over there. But anyways, Thank you again, Will.
All right, we have an email from Matt in Fort Collins. Why don't you take it away?
Yeah, this is kind of a lengthy email, and basically he got his first Android phone, which is the G2X, and he says, now I want to move from 2.2 to at least 2.3, and I don't think T-Mo is going to push an official update anytime soon, which they say they have. But he says, so I want to install an aftermarket ROM. I've already rooted using Super One-Click and am backing up with Titanium backup, but now I've read some things that are making me angsty about taking the next step, namely this mention on the CM7 nightly page about how Tegra 2 devices need to have ROM Manager, Clockwork Mod installed differently, or it could be unrecoverable if something goes wrong. And here's what he read. It is strongly recommended that you flash Clockwork Recovery via NV Flash. If for some reason this or a future nightly build causes your phone to not boot up, you will not be able to boot into recovery unless you have it flashed via NV Flash. To clear up some confusion, if you flash your recovery via ROM Manager, you didn't actually flash a recovery. It is what we call a fake flash. You should still probably flash with NV Flash. Oops, I lost that here. Sorry. Not that I plan on using the nightly builds, but I don't want my phone to get bricked if I mess something up. Anyways, just wondering if you have any insight on that matter and if you heard of any ROMs to try or to avoid on this phone. Well, I decided to go to someone in-house who actually has the G2X, and that's Leo. So for you and for anybody, I asked him, caught a little piece of video of him talking about this issue, and then it turned into a really cool help and how-to segment. So I wondered, so I went ahead and just said, hey, Leo,
let's roll
it into the show.
Yeah, here we go.
Hey, Matt, it's Leo here, and I have exactly the same phone you do, the T-Mobile G2X, or LG 9999. It's the LG Optimus for the U.S. market. And I, like you, was getting a little unhappy with Froyo. Now, before you do anything, the good news is that supposedly they are starting to push out Gingerbread as an over-the-air update for the G2X. I haven't seen it. But I, long ago, got fed up, and I did what you did. I rooted my phone. That wasn't so hard. Super One-Click works fine on the G2X. And then the next step to putting your own ROM on it, and I do recommend Cyanogen. In fact, I use CM7 daily or nightly builds. And I've been very happy. I'll tell you the one negative on that. But the next step is to get Clockwork Mod on there so that you can get into recovery mode easily. In fact, the issue I think that you were reading about really is only that if you do the easy way Clockwork Mod using ROM Manager, you'll lose your stock ROM. And so you can't go back to the stock ROM. But there are people out there with rooted stock ROMs floating around. I found that wasn't too hard to find. I've gotten a situation where I get in a reboot loop or whatever, and there's always a way to get back to putting Clockwork Mod on there so that you get into recovery mode. This is the key to getting your own ROMs on there, is getting into recovery mode. So I use these instructions. As always, XDA Developers is the best. Here's the same thing back here if you want. But XDA Developer this is the instructions I used. Essentially, you're going to download a Linux script that you can run on a Mac, or if you have an ADB driver, you can run it on Windows, that will copy the Clockwork Mod files on there. That's step one. Once you've got Clockwork Mod on there, you can use ROM Manager. In fact, ROM Manager will put Clockwork Mod on there, and this is actually the easiest way to do it. So now that you've got it rooted, just download ROM Manager. It's free for $5.99. You can get the full version that lets you do the nightlies. And what's nice is now I've got ROM Manager running on here and Clockwork Mod, and I'll show you on the screen. There's a few things I can do that are really great. If I launch my ROM Manager, and I have it right on the front screen here, you have to have it rooted. There's a few things you can do. You can update Clockwork Mod. You can reboot into recovery. One of the things you might want to do right away is to back up your current ROM. So once you get Clockwork or ROM Manager on there, first thing you should probably do is back up your current ROM. It puts it in a zip file, which you can then copy to something else and have, and that always gives you a chance to go back to your original ROM. And then once you've done that, now it's a chance for you to browse the existing ROMs. If you do the paid version, you'll have a choice of Cyanogen Nightlies, but even the free version gives you all these ROM choices. I'm a Cyanogen fan. I mean, I've tried all of these just for fun to see what else they have. But really the easiest thing to do is to get either the CM7 Release Candidate 1, which is the most recent version of CM7 Release Candidate. I went with Nightly because I like getting new updates every day. And so the Nightly build, you just press the download button. Make sure you get Google Apps. It'll download the new Nightly build. Once it does so, then it'll give you an option to clear the Dalvik cache, which I would do. If you want a fresh start, clear the data in cache as well. That's like a factory restore. I don't usually do that with the Nightlies. I merely, you can see it's downloading in the background right here. I merely just wipe the Dalvik cache, and then that way all my apps stay in place, everything stays in place. You're smart to use Titanium because then you have a backup. Now, I said I'd say there's some caveats to doing this. The only big one is the one thing that doesn't work, and it may be a while before it works, is stereo Bluetooth, A2DP. Apparently, NVIDIA has not released the source code for the Tegra 2 chip for A2DP, so they haven't been able to put it into the Cyanogen build. Everything else works, in fact works better. I don't get the reboots that I used to get from the G2X. The GPS works faster. The battery life seems to be a lot better. It's a big improvement. I would recommend going with Cyanogen Nightlies. The Nightlies have been very reliable ever since Release Candidate 1. And if you can live without A2DP, this is a great fix. Now you've got gingerbread on here. You've got better battery life and a more reliable phone. Highly recommended. It all comes down to ROM Manager.
Uh-oh.
That was me. It all comes down to around. I think I covered the mic at the end. I was
comes down to
shooting
ROM
that.
Manager at the end.
Yeah, I was shooting that with a Sony Bloggy, so that's why the audio wasn't so clear. I kind of just, caught him in a moment where, like, ooh, I got some time with him.
Yeah.
Hey, do you mind answering this question really quick? So that's what happened. That was really quick. I didn't have one of our really cool cameras with me. But,
ROM
thank you,
Manager
Leo.
is fantastic.
Yeah.
And I've used it all the time. I mean, it really gives you all the tools you need if you're flashing ROMs. It's a little different than the Boot Manager app that I covered last week that allows you to kind of multi-boot different or store different versions and different OSs onto different slots on your card. This is a little more geared towards just flashing, flashing to your phone specifically, but also doing the kind of maintenance-y things that go along with that, like backing up your phone, and it just kind of really makes it very easy to find new things and reinstall them. Leo's totally right. I use it all the time.
Cool.
It's a fantastic app.
Thank you, Leo.
Yeah, thank you, Leo. That's great. All right, let's waste no time. Jump right into apps. All right, so real quick, I've definitely talked on the show about the Google Reader Android app. We had a whole kind of feed reader app arena well early in the show, and they actually just released a new version of the Google Reader app. It minorly changes the phone version, but it adds honeycomb support actually. Let me get my reader up. I have my tablet here. Google Reader, where is it? Normally I store these. There we go. So it does the cool thing with that all kind of optimized for honeycomb tablets do. Ooh, I gotta do that then. Where it has kind of your left-hand column where you can kind of navigate through, and then your right-hand column where it pulls up the articles and different things if you want to blow them up. It's a definite improvement, and it's way nicer than it was. It was really funky the way it was before it was optimized for honeycomb. Having said that, I've gotten so used to using Pulse on my tablet for feed reading, and just kind of the graphical nature of Pulse is so incredibly inviting that going back to Google Reader on the tablet is, again, it's functional, it's totally functional, and it's fine. It's just not the kind of app that I want to just pull right out and, you know, use. Whereas it's like if I'm pulling this app, I'm pulling it out because I want to find something particular. But with Pulse, I'm just pulling it out because I've got time to kill and I want to just kind of read through things and see what I find. So, but it's definitely a good improvement. If you like the way that Google Reader works on the web, it follows kind of that that look and feel a lot more. So you might actually really dig the update. I'm going to try and force myself to use it a little bit more and use Pulse a little bit less, just so that I get a little bit more familiar with it. But yeah, it's a good update. I just don't know if it's going to push Pulse out of my daily usage.
I know, I like Pulse quite a bit too.
Yeah.
All right, well, I have an app to share. In the news last week, Evernote just bought Skitch, which is which has been an app for annotation and editing and screenshots. And not only did they buy it, but they went ahead and gave the Android people, us, a free app to go along with it. If you're familiar with the app Pixay, it's very similar, although that one, there's the free and then there's also the paid version. This one is completely free, so you know what you could do here, you could just kind of draw, have markers, you know, kind of mess up your images. Let's see, I'm going to pick a image here, kind of load it. This is the cake from our party, which is all messed up. Does it rotate? Oh, it does rotate. Good. So
There's still that cake from the party back there.
I know, it is still back there. So what am I going to do? I'm going to circle that. Oh, look at the cake. Or I could do text, you know, yummy.
So it's kind of like you're not necessarily run-of-the-mill, because I haven't used it, but there are a lot of apps on Android that allow you to kind of take a photo and spruce it up with colorful graphics and add text and
the difference
funny hats.
here is that once you save it, you could go ahead and, if you're a big Evernote user, you can upload it to Evernote and you can annotate it. You could, you know, do all the things that you might normally do.
Yeah.
Heavy Evernote users, which there's millions of them,
People
will love this app,
Evernote.
I think. And how easy was that for me to just draw right then and there?
Right, and from the looks of it, it looks very similar to the Mac app.
Yes.
Skitch has been out. Skitch has its own like a Mac screenshot app for a while now, and the look and feel of the Android app is very, very similar to the desktop version. Like the whole text is the same, the arrows are the same. So if you're very familiar with Skitch on the desktop, you'll be familiar with this as well.
I like it. I like it quite a bit. That was, you know, there's my pretty cake picture.
I can't even see the cake anymore. All I see is yum.
Yum. Maybe I'll G,
And a
maybe
pile
I'll G
of cake
plus it
behind it.
myself. I don't know.
Yeah.
So anyways,
Cool.
that's free and in the Android marketplace
Skitch.
right now. Skitch.
Android. Nice.
Skitch.
Cool.
Very cool. And next up, very exciting for fans of Google TV, Android devs can now start optimizing their apps for Google TV. With the upcoming OS update to Honeycomb, Google TV devices will be Android compatible. That means developers can build great new Android apps for TV, optimize existing mobile or tablet apps for TV, and distribute those apps through Android Market. While the add-on does not contain all features of Google TV, it enables developers to emulate Google TV and build apps using standard Android SDK tools. So those of you who will have the Google TV devices might finally be able to play your Android apps on your big screen television, something like that.
You have one, right, Eileen?
I do. I don't know what. It's going to be interesting to see what apps actually make it to Google TV. And it's also worthy to note that the touchscreen apps, that if it's definitely required to have touchscreen, those will not appear in Google TV. So I'm guessing some of the games. I'm trying to think what app I would want. Yeah. I'm just trying to think what app I would want to have on my Google TV.
Yeah.
Maybe Reader?
Yeah, I know.
I don't know.
I'm very curious to see I'm very curious to see what app developers do to kind of appeal to users of the Google TV, and especially to see what is the cream of the crop, what really rises to the top and becomes really useful on a Google TV. Because like you, it's really hard for me to think about an interactive app that I want to sit on my couch and I don't know. It just seems it doesn't seem like it really speaks to me. But I'm sure there will be something really cool that comes out of it, you know?
And what would be really cool for me anyway is if they can figure out how to do it. Like if you could play a multiplayer game and everyone has their Android phones out, and you could play the game like on the big screen television, but each person has their own controller in their phone.
That would be cool.
That would be kind of cool, right?
Cool.
That's kind of the way I see it. It's got to be some sort of entertainment app, right? So games. You know, you already have Netflix on there, on Google TV. You know, am I really going to want to be productive on my TV?
Yeah, exactly.
No,
Are you really going to want to like be tweeting from your couch?
Do I want
on
Wunderlist on there? Yeah, well, they do. You can using the browser right now, but I never do.
Well, yeah,
you know,
totally.
And
you'll be able to from an app at some point.
I guess some like music apps, although a lot of that stuff is already on there too. So I don't know. It'll be really interesting. But I like that idea, Nicole. I like, hey, I'm going to have, this is my controller. Let's play, you know, multiplayer, whatever. You know,
you could make it like a Scrabble, like a board game where the Scrabble board is on the TV, but each person has their own individual tile rack. Like kind of like how Words with Friends work a little bit, like the whole Scrabble tile rack thing. That'd be kind of neat, you know.
All right, you're on, Nicole. I'll play against you.
All right.
Right on. All right. Well, I think we should waste no more time and jump right into the arena.
2 enter, 1 lives. Android Arena.
That should be the title. More face.
More face.
More face, Jace. All right. So first of all, last week's poll. I don't know if I necessarily expected this, but we covered the contacts replacement apps, and it appears that Contapps, my app, ended up winning.
Jason won. You know,
I thought Go Contacts had a lot of steam.
Well, I'm just glad Ron's not here because, you know.
Yeah, I know.
Again. He got Colorado and he got Virginia and Tennessee. We're looking at our poll map right now. You claimed so many states.
I always get Idaho. That's important to me.
I know. I can't believe California turned against me. But I did, you know, Oregon, even though I gave you some flack for a couple weeks ago talking about why you guys still have Blackberries over any other smartphone. In Nevada, all right, I'm going to go gamble soon. And Arizona, interesting. But congratulations. Congratulations, Contapps. And it was that icon, I'm pretty sure. No, I'm kidding.
Well,
the
if
cute penguin icon.
There are comments down there that say it's the penguin that sold them.
No way, really?
They could be just going off of what you said during the show.
I sold your app.
Yeah, you gotta be
app.
careful about that. You don't want to do that necessarily. Contapps had me at penguin. Says somebody.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, so see, be
My
careful
own
what
fault.
you say.
I know. I got to be careful.
Could mean another vote for me. So this week we're going to talk about cloud storage. And I know in the past, in one of the earlier episodes, we talked about cloud music storage. This is definitely a broader thing. This is more kind of using kind of a in the cloud locker for your files, whatever those files may be. And there are definitely a few key players in this field. And Ron was going to do one of them. Ron was going to do Box.net. And unfortunately, I haven't had a whole lot of experience with Box.net. With him not being on the show today, I mean, at best, I'm going to be able to kind of give you an idea of what the service offers. And I actually have the Honeycomb app, so I can show that off. But I'm not going to get to that first. Might as well get to my app before I start selling Ron's app. My app is Dropbox, and I'm sure you've heard of Dropbox. It's a very, very popular in this space, and I've only recently been a Dropbox user. It took me a while to really understand why I needed Dropbox in my life, but once I started finding uses for it, and especially around working here at TWiT and using it as kind of a storage locker for files that I might want to access at any of the computers in here, at the TriCaster, or wherever, it's become indispensable. So just as far as the service itself, you get 2 gigs for free, 2 gigs of storage in the cloud for free. If you refer others, you get 250 megs per user that signs up based on your referral, up to 8 gigs. 8 gigs of storage, and I don't think that there's any sort of upper file size limit specifically. If there is, I haven't run into it, and I've uploaded really large files to my Dropbox. So there's that. I think that's super valuable, especially, you know, in my situation, it comes in handy all the time. If you want to get more storage than that, you can pay $9.99 a month or $99 per year for 50 gigs of cloud storage, or $19.99 a month or $199 a year. So you definitely get the discount if you buy per year. And that's for 100 gigs of storage online. Now, the mobile client is a little different than it works on the desktop. If you've used it on the desktop, you know that you've got kind of your folder that you've designated as your share folder. And anything that you drag into that folder will be automatically synced to any other computer that you have set up with your Dropbox account and set up to pull from that folder. So as you drop things into that folder, they just magically appear on those other computers. It's really cool that way. You don't ever have to think about it. The Android app actually works a little bit differently. I'll try and position this for you, Tony. I don't know if you can zoom in on that a little bit. I'll wait, because I know it takes a while to zoom in. Thank you. And I will edit right here. I've got my little ticks on the side of the spreadsheet for my edit points. Okay, great. All right, cool. So I'll go ahead and launch the Dropbox app right now. And what you see right off the top are just kind of my folders specifically. You know what? Here, let me get the screen brightness up. There we go. Hey, that's better. So these are all the folders that I'm syncing my files to right now. The Android app does not work in the same way as the desktop app in the sense that you actually have to request a file to be downloaded onto your phone. As well, you have to request for a file to be sent up. So if I wanted to grab, one of these images, I could long press on it and I could choose to open it, and that'll just kind of show it to me. I could download it. I could share that. When you share, you've got a couple of options where you can kind of share a link, and it gives you a link that you can send to people that automatically shows them whatever it is you're sharing when they click on it. So that's very handy. Or you can share the file itself, so you're actually kind of attaching that file through whatever means you choose to share it. So it's very handy like that. It also has some integration with the apps on your phone. So as you can see right up there, it's a PDF file that I've synced. It's a TriCaster brochure. I was like, what PDF should I drag onto here? But it automatically associates it as a PDF file format. And if I click on that, it downloads it and launches the appropriate application to kind of get you into that app that you've synced there. So it really tries to be kind of a seamless experience with how your phone is set up. Let's see here. You can upload directly from the app, which I don't use a whole lot. I mean, you can do it from other places in the sense that on most Android apps that allow you to share things. If you're in the gallery, for instance, you could click an image and choose to upload it directly from there. But you can also do it from the app if you upload, and it kind of takes you through the same steps. What kind of file do you want to send, and it'll take you into the appropriate application in order to do that. As well, you can create a new. So if you wanted to actually take a picture and have it sent directly from Dropbox, you could just go New, Picture, and it'll launch your camera app, and you can kind of take the picture, and it's automatically kind of integrated within there. There really isn't a whole lot more to talk about how the app works. It's very straightforward. If you needed to create folders, you could do that, whatever. But you can use these folders however you want, to pull from, to put information into, to create the share links, which is extremely handy for collaboration type uses. And for those security fiends out there that want to make sure that their data is protected, it's all SSL and AES 256-bit encrypted. So it's, on transfer, it's pretty encrypted as well. So hopefully that's safe enough for you. But that's Dropbox. I think the hard thing with these types of apps is they're, half of the appeal, not even half of the appeal, part of the appeal is the app. The majority of the appeal is the service that it provides. And Dropbox, as far as the service, I mean, after using it every day for probably the past 3 or 4 months, I don't know how I would go without it now that I'm so used to using it. I love it. So check it out, Dropbox. It's in the market, and you can start using it for free. So.
Okay, well, I think the other competitor in the space is SugarSync, and
I hear
I've
a lot
heard,
about SugarSync.
Yeah, I do too, and I've been using it for a little bit now, and I also use Dropbox as well. And I'm going to show you, it's free in the App Store. Now you get, for the basic service, you get 5 gigs for free to start, and the app looks a little something like this, and let me show you. I'm going to open this up. Now what I've done is I've actually given myself a PIN, so I'm going to protect that and I know that you can do that on Dropbox, but I'm not going to show you my pin. So 1 second, because I'm very protective of my phone now that I've famously lost one. But here's what it looks like. There's a little more going on, and now I've got all my devices. I've got my work laptop, my Mac Pro, I've got my Android device, and you can give yourself little icons for the various devices that you hook up to SugarSync. They're all hooked up together. This magic briefcase, anything that you put in there automatically syncs with all of the devices that you have synchronized to SugarSync. And it does basic things. You know, you can access your data from anywhere. You can keep folders in sync on your device. You can share files and folders, and you can securely back up your data. You can also automatically upload photos, and you go into your settings. So when you take photos, auto-sync photos, just check that. So I've demoed an app before that when you take a photo, this is called Drop-In, and it'll go to Dropbox. Now this one does it here automatically using SugarSync. So, and there's many options here to upload during Wi-Fi only. You know, you've got lots of different things. You can, here you go, use a PIN, change your PIN if you want even more secure pieces. Now, what I've done here too is I've actually, let's see if I could find it. I'm going to go to my device here. And actually, no, I'm going to go to a different device. I'm going to go to my Mac Pro because I've synced some music here. And what I can do is I could stream the music on my phone. Anybody like Hall & Oates?
Yeah.
It's buffering.
Yeah.
Sure. It's buffering.
Take or leave Hall & Oates.
It does work, but I've got 3G going here. But anyways, if you
Little
wanted
Green
to...
Robot doesn't seem to like Hall & Oates.
I know. Can you hear it? Oh, I can't hear it.
No.
Oh, because I don't have the volume.
Oh, yeah. You caught it before it was playing.
Well, anyways,
there we
so
go.
there you go.
Hall & Oates.
So if you wanted to stream, you can upload any of your music and go ahead and stream it for later play. There you go. Adult education. Okay, I should probably stop that now too so that you don't keep hearing it for those of you who don't want to hear it. So that's kind of a cool little feature there. And then you can edit files using your favorite editing app, and you can also customize your auto sync options. It's really kind of full and a robust service, and I'm really surprised that a lot of people don't use this as much. I guess, you know, once something catches fire like Dropbox, there you go, right?
Mm-hmm. I like the look of this app. This app is just kind of visually a little bit more appealing than the Dropbox app.
Yeah, I mean, you know, they give you the cute little icons here. This is kind of fun. I like that. And anyways, yeah, you can upload, you know, any of your files from your phone to SugarSync. And the plans it's kind of interesting. There is actually, Tony, a SugarSync has sort of how they stack up to the competition. I don't know if you have that link there, but they say that there's a couple things that they do that Dropbox doesn't do, which is one of them they say is to back up any folder on your computer, which is kind of, I'm not quite sure. They say that Dropbox doesn't do that, and they also say that you can select any folder on your computer to sync.
That Dropbox doesn't do that?
Yeah, it says no, I don't know. I mean, this seems to be like an updated...
Yeah,
take it for what you want. I mean, this is SugarSync's website, so I'm sure Dropbox would, you know, kind of refute any of that. And then they also say they can send files. You were talking about send files of any size, and they say that no to Dropbox. But,
okay, so then there must be an upper limit. I just haven't hit it yet.
Yeah, I haven't
I've
hit it either.
uploaded some really large files.
So did I. Yeah. So I don't know. Have you uploaded a movie? Maybe movies or something like that.
Yeah, like I've uploaded like ProRes video for you know in QuickTime, and I can't even remember how large that was. I think it was like 800 megs.
Okay.
Was one of them.
It sounds like
feel like
SugarSync is
good.
cheaper.
Slightly
it looks like it's a little cheaper than Dropbox for a comparable data storage
So if
size.
you're buying.
Yeah, if you're going to
buying
buy
extra
that
storage.
stuff.
Yeah, if you want to buy it, yeah.
I mean, they're virtually the same, and then now they're also saying that streaming music to a web browser is streaming music on, you know, your mobile device. For some of the mobile devices are limited, and it's unlimited on SugarSync. It's also unlimited on Dropbox for Android, so and that's what we care about here. So I don't know. I mean, it's a different looking app, but it's essentially the same service with slightly different prices, and it just kind of depends on what you are used to. You know, I mean, I think for your app, Jason, the toolbar at the top with SugarSync and just dragging and dropping is really, really easy to do, and syncing is really easy as well. So I don't know. I don't think you can go wrong with either one. I like both of them, and I've been using both of them for a little while now. I don't know. I think both of them are really, really good. But you can vote for mine anyways, right?
Well, that's the thing. There are actually a lot of really devoted SugarSync fans out there. I was really curious to hear you talk about it, because when it kind of came down to my decision, I went with Dropbox just because it's the one I've heard about more than the other services. But, you know, as I've talked about them on like Twitter and stuff, I always get tons of responses about SugarSync. Like, you should really check out SugarSync.
Yeah.
It's the one that I opt for over, you know, Dropbox for a number of reasons. So, so there's that. We should just quickly mention that we, you know, like I said, Box.net, or Box is the name of the Android app, is another service that allows you to do this. And I mean, I haven't had a whole lot of hands-on experience with Box. I do know that they recently came out with a honeycomb app, and it looks pretty, you know, pretty nice. It definitely looks better than the Dropbox app that I also loaded on, you know, on my tablet. But let's see, what is the pricing on this? It's one user. It's free for one user up to 5 gigs with a 25 meg file size limit. And that just seems really, I mean, that wouldn't work for me to have a 25 meg file size limit.
Is that the free account? And
that's for the free account.
Okay.
One user with 5 gigs of total storage, which isn't bad, but to cap the size of the files at 25 megs is just too small for what I would use this for. But if you get a business account, $15 per user per month for 300 to 500 users, up to 500 gigs of storage with a 2 gig file size limit. So that's actually a pretty large file independently, and it can sync, you know, your desktop files. It has it has Google Apps integration, which I think they all kind of do more or less. I don't know if that's just referring to the sync and all that kind of stuff, but the honeycomb app does look pretty nice. I haven't really had like a lot of hands-on time with Box on a day-to-day basis to be able to give it.
It sounds like, according to the website anyway, Box.net, they more persistently target business customers. So they have more, they say anyway, they have better advanced security features, sort of finer controls of, you know, version controls and all of that. So those are things that are more important, like, you know, more office document controls, those kind of things. Okay. So it sounds like it's a little bit more documents and sort of that kind of thing.
Kind of businessy oriented. Yeah. Okay.
Well, we have one more app that I'm just going to mention really briefly, which is Walla from Lassie. And Walla came about, I heard about it, I don't know, a couple months ago, when there was all this sort of, you know, trouble with Dropbox and their files. And, you know, they got into a little bit of trouble for, you know, exposing information. And so, you know, people at the time were looking for alternatives, and Walla was one. This is a very, very simple app, but what they say and what they tout is, you know, securely encrypting your files as it goes to Walla immediately, to and from your phone. They, you know, they're touting, you know, really secure. A really secure service. And this is really what, if you're looking at the video, when you launch the app, you just see your folders. You can open up, you can add more folders. You can go into a folder, and then you can simply do an upload here. But they say everything is really secure. And I do know a lot more people, I think maybe in Europe, use Walla than maybe they do out here. But it's another service that, you know, if you are interested in, and if you're really paranoid about security for cloud storage, they seem to back up that, you know, they're very, very secure. So it's free to install. I have a free, I think it's like a 5 gig account right now. Okay. Let me see here, features, let me double check here. But, you know, they all have the, you know, they're free accounts to start. Oh, this is uploading right now. I'm uploading a photo. And then you can get, you know, bigger. Oh, nope, sorry. Free is store up to 1 gig is free. And then you have to pay a little bit more for 10, 25, 50, 100, 25, 250 gigs. And then there's also a business version as well. So when you start with 1 gig of storage for free, this gives you room for about 500 to 200 music files, but then you can get as much storage as you like.
Yeah,
so.
1 gig for free, that's pretty low.
It's pretty small.
Yeah, pretty small.
I don't know, but if you're really into security, apparently, that's,
yeah, right.
you know.
Well, actually, I'm really happy that you mentioned that, because I hate to say I completely forgot about the Dropbox security snafu that happened. That was, I think that was in June, where for like 4 hours, anyone could log into any account with any password. So I'm, you know.
I wasn't trying to diss your app.
No, I'm happy that you mentioned that, because I guarantee you I would have been called out an email like, yeah, sure, don't mention that. I completely forgot about that. Maybe I should remember that as I use Dropbox more, but I bet you they're a lot more secure now than they were before that happened.
Remember when this happened too, and I think most people were saying encrypt your files, you know, always, you know, just encrypt them. And I still use it, even though I was a little panicked when all of this happened with Dropbox. But, you know,
right.
I don't think I put a lot of files in storage that are really super
totally
I don't know, important, that, you know, I don't put my social security number or things like that in
I'm not using it to store ultra sensitive data, but, you know, everybody has a different usage
I mean, at the same time, you know, this Voila app, it looks like they all the files are just encrypted directly on the computer before it's uploaded, and that's, you know, a feature that many people want out of their cloud syncing app.
Yep. So. All right. Well, those are the services that we're going to cover on this episode. So if you would like to vote, you can. I'm changing up the URL just a little bit, but I promise this is the last time. bit.ly/AAA poll22. That last part is kind of the same, right? bit.ly/AAA poll22. And let us know what your favorite cloud file storage app is, as shown on the episode. We have all 4 options in there. What I'd love to see in the contents here is if you vote for the ones that we maybe didn't give as deep coverage, the Box.net and the Voila. If you vote for those, drop a comment in at the bottom and let us know kind of the reasons why you opt for that over the other ones, and kind of share your experience, because I'd love to know. I'd love to know why. You know, what is it that draws you there as opposed to the others, and we can all kind of learn from that. So
I think Dropbox is gonna take the lead.
I got to stop getting like the apps that are right off the top, like leading the category. I gotta go outside the box.
I had a few.
I
had a good run at winning several
agree.
weeks in a row. So it's Ron, really. I'm okay. You know, I feel like I've been a champion for a lot of the time. So, you know, I'm like, you know, I'll let you take the lead for a little bit, but I'm going to come back strong, you know, in September. Yeah. Ron, on the other hand, you know, if we were to give, you know what, I want to go back and kind of look at who won what poll. And
we're going to have to tally that all up and see.
You won a lot early on, and then I came back in the middle there. And I don't know about Ron. I'm not quite sure how many he's actually won. So we're going to have to take a look at that later.
Yeah, totally. So that's bit.ly/AAA poll22. Go ahead and check it out. Next week, we're going to cover lock screen replacements.
All right.
Which I think is a cool category.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one thing I actually really like about Sense 3 is the lock screen as you use that. But there are a lot of other lock screen kind of widgets and replacement apps out there that allow you to do cool things with your lock screen. So if you have any ideas about what you'd like us to cover, you know, let us know, and I'll give you the information there in a second. But before I do, that's it for the show. Nicole, thank you again for coming on a second week in a row. Really appreciate it.
No problem. No, Ron, he's always in New York.
I know. That New York guy. Why don't you, if you don't mind, letting people know where they can find all the many things that you do?
Yeah, so I work for CNET. I write the reviews for them. We have a weekly cell phone podcast, dialedin.cnet.com, where we talk about Android and all other kinds of phones. If you want to check out all my other stuff, they're all on my about.me page, all my Twitter accounts on there, my Google Plus accounts on there. So about.me/Nicole Lee.
That makes sense.
Awesome.
Yes, right on. Thank you again, Nicole. Really appreciate it. And Eileen, what are your details?
Well, you know, you can find me on Twitter at Eileen TV, but I'm all over G+. And just do a little search for me on there on G+. It's kind of where I've been living these days, and all the Android community has been really nice in answering questions.
It's been a
and
great place for Android discussion in particular.
Absolutely.
I'm there as well. You can find me on G+, as well as Twitter, Raygun01. As for the show, that is it for this week. Leave us a voicemail. We'd love to play your voicemail on the show, 347-SHOW-AAA. You can send us an email or give us a video mail with a link at aaa@twit.tv. You can hit the show up on Twitter. That's at Android Show. Check out the show notes. We post those for every episode at twit.tv/AAA. And finally, you can catch us live every Monday from 5, usually ends up being 5:30 or so, to 6:30 p.m. Pacific at live.twit.tv. And that's it for this week. Thank you, everyone. And we'll see you again next week.
See ya.
Bye.